Oh, that one's easy. That's super easy. If I found this magic lamp and I could rub it and the genie would grant me just one wish, it would be for our Latino Hispanic community to put our differences aside and for once and for all to come together all as one, as a unit. Please, especially in California, we're already the majority. We don't need to be suffering like this, but we're suffering because we can't come together. So my wish, my dream would be for us to actually help each other, much the same way that the Asian community does. You know, it's unfortunate that we as a community have not managed to do what I have always hoped we can, and that's come together, unite, and leave all our differences aside. I hear so many things, you know, traveling around doing motivational speeches and this and that, and I have been disheartened and saddened to hear people say when you know I'm talking to the students or whatnot, and I ask them, so you know what does your father do? What does your mom do? And they're like, well, you know, he's a construction worker, and my mom she's a nanny, or she cleans homes or whatever. So well, we're Mexican, you know, absolutely nothing wrong with those hard, honest jobs. But when we ourselves put that ceiling right there, put that barrier, we're already defeated, you know. At that point, we don't need barriers from white Caucasian America. We have already put the barriers ourselves. I always tell people there is a change that needs to happen in this country, but the change actually needs to start with each and every one of us, and it needs to come from here, you know, to where you believe it doesn't matter what I'm looking at in the mirror. It doesn't matter what the color of my skin is. I can aspire to be an astronaut. I can be a doctor. I can be an attorney. I can be an architect. The moment we start telling ourselves that and actually believing that, to where it comes normal and natural, I think that's where we can start to break down the barriers that are imposed to us by the ruling community or the majority. So I think one message I would like to, for our future generation and for our youth to get, is that success doesn't mean money and doesn't mean having the fanciest toys and everything. It means being able to acknowledge how blessed you are and being able to share your blessings. I think if you manage to do that, you'll be extremely happy, much happier than any big old check that you get will ever make you. Being able to feel like you helped somebody. I said, I mean, for me, it was incredible today that 3 years ago, I gave a motivational speech at Dominguez Hills College. And now one of the students in attendance happened to be the person who invited me to speak to her first students. She's a first year teacher, and she's the one who invited me to come out and talk to her students. And the tears I saw in her eyes 3 years ago, I saw in those 14 and 15-year-old kids today. And you know, as an older gentleman told me once, he said, you might not know this, but maybe 20 years from now, maybe 30 years from now, somebody that you'll never recognize and you have no idea who they are or where they saw you, they'll come up to you and they'll tell you, thank you, Mr. Garcia, because one day you told me, even though you weren't talking to me, I felt like you were talking to me. And you told me that I could be something more than I thought I could be. You told me that I had a possibility of being successful just like you were. And I believed it. And therefore I went out and did, you know, X, Y, and Z. And now I'm successful. And now I'm helping others. And now I'm giving it back. I mean, that's the whole idea behind, you know, my foundation as well. After I managed to win a landmark case, a historic, first of a kind case in the nation of being able to practice being undocumented, we immediately set up the Sergio C. Garcia Foundation, and this year already we get given out $50,000. We intend to give another $50,000 before the year is over. I think it's important for us to really spend more time with our kids too. The relationship that I have had with my parents, it's been a wonderful one. In spite of the fact that they never had money to tell me, here, go to whatever college you want. Well, quite the opposite. I mean, and they did that once when I was in law school. It just brought me to tears right away because they gave me the biggest pile of money to pay for one of my semesters. it was $3,000, and I had never seen such a big old pile of money to raise $3,000 because there were a bunch of dollar bills. There were some $5 bills, $10 bills, $20 bills, maybe a couple $100 bills, and a couple 50s. I told him, I love you and I appreciate it, but just don't ever do that again. The pressure for me was too much. Law school was difficult enough without knowing, the hard work that went into paying for my tuition and knowing the sacrifices that my parents were doing to make sure that I could go to school. But it's incredible to have parents that are there for you, and they always tell me, we're gonna give you our opinion, and you're gonna, at the end of the day, you're gonna do whatever you want, and if you don't follow our advice, you're probably gonna fall flat on your face, but we'll be there to pick you up. And I think that's a great thing. I think that's definitely something that as a child you appreciate it, and you're blessed if you have that kind of support. They might not have any money, but as long as they're there for you morally, it means the world to you, and it makes a huge difference. It's been a rough life, and I made myself a promise after I finally got my green card. I said, I don't want to forget where I came from, and I don't want to forget everything I felt and everything I went through, because I think actually feeling that way and still being able to relive those tough moments, it's what allows me to maintain my humanity, and know that I went through hell, but I came out a little beat up, but at least not bitter, at least not angry at life and angry at the world. No money, no honey, that's for sure. That is for sure.